So let's get Jeffrey in as we walk through what you were saying about the top stories, Jeffrey.
Well, Ten Hag has said, I'm not a magician. Well, let's give him that opportunity. He lost, and it's just maybe the league is too early to begin to judge him. But United fans are not taking anything less than the best.
Fans expect you to be a wizard, a witch, whatever it is it will take for you to win the matches, even if you have won. Just conjure something.
One of the things I like about football is the speed of accountability.
Yeah.
As soon as that's why they say all coaches is either you're about to be sacked or you've been sacked.
Yeah.
So as soon as you don't perform, the football coaches, you're on your way out already. We already know you're on your way out. But maybe let's see how it plays out for him. Some of these legacy clubs, they have a way of just holding on and to these coaches and see how things play out for them.
Yeah.
But for others, they may not be that lucky. So let's get to what you've been saying. And the big one has to do with the NNPC, talking about that financial strain that they have. When they release their financial statement, and boom, we saw 3.3 billion. For some of us who understand beyond some of those headline numbers, we dug deep and we knew that there was a problem. That statement had clearly stated there was a problem with cash flow.
Right.
Look at that gearing ratio, and at the end of the day, when the CFO came and was talking about the fact that, look, what we're paying is shortfall, not subsidy. Okay, just calm down. The most important thing is that there's under recovery, which has stretched your finances, and there's even a defrayment of your dividend to a federal account. So you have trouble, and now you finally acknowledge. So that's NNPCL finally acknowledging that all is not well. They're indebted, and it's really affecting them because they are taking on the cost of, PMS supply from the federal government, which is AKA subsidy. So finally we can say with good authority, because I don't know. Makabele says, when Nigeria is ready, this organization will either serve its true cause or get ousted. For now, keep up the shambolic show.
And you can understand the frustration for Nigerians. Different flip-flops, you say, Jeffrey. You talked about the subsidy part. People have been saying clearly this doesn't make sense. But said no.
Shortfall.
It was under recoveries during the previous administration of Buhari.
It's just changing names.
Changing names. That's one. Two is the $6 billion debt.
6.8.
Exactly. 6 billion plus. And it was said that this NNPCL, you're owing. NNPC Limited released a statement saying we're not owing. What happened is a credit line was opened. And what we're doing is we're trying to pay first.
Small. Let's use the Nigerian term, small.
So essentially, not admitting. Now, coming over to say yes, not even admitting, acknowledging. Now, you need to see the terms used. We acknowledge, not admit. So I think that we should get to a point. First, these things should not be in the pages of newspaper first. If you're a transparent organization, let it out straight up.
And at the end of the day, that's why we're insisting that the NNPC must get to the stock market, get quoted on the exchange. Because in situations like this, everybody in charge gets fired.
Yeah, you sit up. Well, take a look at the next user. Olubumi Fadiora says NNPC Limited's acknowledgement, I should say, but you say admission of financial difficulties and debt to petrol suppliers is a red flag for Nigeria's fuel supply. This is not the time to keep quiet, this user says. An urgent audit is needed to uncover the root of this mismanagement and ensure our energy security is not compromised. Let's demand transparency, this user says.
It's simple. Inem Junior says, thank you for the transparency in addressing the financial challenges the NNPCL is currently facing. I hope you've not read that.
Well, I did, but sometimes these things are worth taking twice, but you can move on to the next one.
Okay, let me move to the next one. Bruce here says, NNPC has successfully mortgaged the energy future of Nigeria. The company is run without care for profit. On the record, they recorded profit. So let's say the one that is fact. Yeah. There's profit. 3.3 trillion naira 2023, 2.2 2022. The previous year, 600 billion. The previously 200 billion. Then there was a loss of 800 billion in 2018.
So the question
we can track
from Nigerians is, so where's the profit?
So that is what they are explaining.
Good answer. Good answer, Jeffrey. Moving on to Gabriel Bolati. That's the next user, Safety Cabal, saying that Mr. Femi Shonaya, that's a spokesperson for the NNPC Limited. How are we going to continue this suffering about availability of petrol? Because that's actually what Nigerians understand, that they are on queues or they don't have petrol in their tanks and generating sets. Goes on to say this is unfair to Nigerians buying fuel at a high cost, yet it is not readily available. You guys should sit up and Do your job, I think. No room for excuses, this guy says.
All right. Sami Adekola says, it is nauseating to hear this from you. After a month of fuel scarcity, it's better there is fuel and people pay for it than fuel not being available. People paying higher prices and yet still have to spend hours queuing at filling station. This is my general, what do you call it now? Counsel to Nigeria and the populace. So in corporate finance, there's something we call the balance sheet, statement of financial position. There's something called the income statement. Professionally, it's called statement of profit and loss. There's also the statement of cash flow. Try and understand the basics of this so that when you look at the numbers, you will know that certain things are right and certain things are not right. If you don't understand the numbers, ask the experts.
Right. So, one question, Jeff. So what point should they understand it? After they get petrol in their tank or before they get petrol in their tank?
So when that audit was released, for some of us who understand a bit of those numbers, we could tell there was a problem.
Right.
And that problem now has affected how
Nigerians could tell there was a problem when they went to filling stations and there was no petrol, or they looked around and filling stations.
So everybody's in this together.
Everybody's interpreting in different ways. But the flip side to this conversation, Jeffrey, is a refinery conversation. We're looking at Port Harcourt to see if September will be September. Don't forget it was August, but they're saying they have started producing, but they are testing the product. But we'll wait to see if that will happen. But the flip side is that there are other refineries that could be serving us. So what is the plan? We understand that the NNPC is planning to hand over Warri, Kaduna refineries to private operators. So they are looking for, those who can handle it better than the government, simply put. First user here, Babat Bakatsine, says, hand over or sell it. NNPC and Nigerian government should clear the air on whether they are selling it to private management or handing it over freely to them. Well, you shouldn't hand over freely. But again, when you look at the liabilities, sometimes you might not get a lot from it.
So I think the term is operate and manage.
Right.
So that's what OMN. But you must have at least $2 billion in the works. So Amisa, the very best decision ever. Next best decision, scrap NNPC, sell off his assets to private operators. This is very harsh. I don't know what to say.
But you again understand where Nigerians are coming from. And finally on this one is Etiosa saying, so NNPC Limited is handing over Warri and Kaduna refineries to operators with a question mark. Sounds like a sweet deal, but let's not be fooled. This user says this is just the FG handing over our national assets to their cronies and front companies. Who did we offend? So, I know these are big allegations.
Okay.
I understand the anger.
Yeah, I understand.
So I think it's important to make these things transparent so people don't go to town with this. But if it's true,
so NNPC needs to contextualize. So it's operate and manage and maintain and all of that. So I don't think it's hand over. We can't just hand over our assets to. That's our kick. Okay. All right. So let's go to. I'll put. That's the okay. This is Wike now. Threatening governors who want to interfere in River State PDP structure.
Ooh.
So there was, you need to go and watch what the FCC minister said. Some very strong statements. Some are saying it's insightful and all of that. So there was a PDP Congress across states. And in this particular one in River State, the governor was not involved. It's the weakest camp.
Right.
I took charge. And that's where he started saying that. Some people are saying that he's perhaps overbearing, he's taking over structures and all of that. I said, well, we brought the structure, brought the governor. The governor said he doesn't want us anymore. We collected our party. So he was responding to people like Bala Muhammad of Bauchi that they will take the structure, give it back to the governor and say, if you try anything in my state, I'll put fire in your state. Political instability calls it.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Not fire.
Well, political instability could lead to real security issues, as we see. So, but he said those things. He said, "I'll put fire in your state."
Those were the words.
Those are the words.
That is scary.
There's no way to explain it. So he said, and I explain it as a political fire. Well, if you put political fire, it could degenerate into something else. So let's go. What the Zuru says, the truth is that every state governor should control their state party affairs, but not trying to give the party structure to another state to people that are actively involved in the growth of the party. The PDP governors are trying to create more political crisis in River State.
There you go. But this user,
that's
Bariga John.
Bariga
John is escalating this beyond just politics. Says that, and this user tagged DSS. Official DSSNG, please react to this comment by Wike. I believe it's not good for a minister of the FCT of Federal Republic of Nigeria to make such statements. I remember former governor of Ondo State of late, Rotimi Akeredolu, saying that some of these things are political gunshots. Some of the statements they make, that it's not meant to harm nobody. And the question we asked then, on a jocular note, is, but the people that take it to town and say, well, you've said that, let's do this. They go to town and disrupt ballot boxes and says, well, those ones are on their own. But from their own side, at least the leaders, they're just joking. But again, you have to watch what you say.
Well, this, what Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, says a lot about the activities of the PDP. Whether the PDP is so weak, can't take care of itself, or this is just politics.
Right.
So we're going to have this conversation one day or the other. This is Ituma Sonny 2496, says he's a PDP member, and he was talking as a PDP member, talking to his party members, and it has nothing to do with Nigerians. PDP should settle their family problems and leave Nigeria out. PDP is not Nigeria, and Nigeria is not PDP. Okay?
There you go. So we'll see how this plays out. If it's just politics, we do hope that it stays political and doesn't degenerate, and just let's have a relative peace. But let's take one more for you, and it's a cherished story, Jeffrey. You know, Chidinma, a lot of people heard about her, the issues she had in South Africa, trying to run for Miss South Africa, and eventually she pulled out as a result of the racism, the racist remarks, and she came back home. And guess what? The same Chidinma, additional, the stone that the builders rejected, has now become the cornerstone, as she has won Miss Universe Nigeria 2024. Olamilekon is the first one we'll take on this one, saying, as expected, congratulations to her. South Africans can donate their tears to, what's CS, Jeffrey? The comment section. Oh, that's what CS means on social media.
You're the chief of social media, so you should. I didn't even know what it meant. It meant Hamza 14 says, I thought Miss Kwara won. Credit to South Africans' massive vote for Miss Kwara. But really? They really don't like this girl like this. They came all the way to vote.
Come on. But it's good to see. Of course, she'll now go ahead to vie for the global pageant, and I imagine she'll meet South Africa in that one. But, well, I think it's all love from here, and we hope that it's the same from there. That's how we'll anchor on this beat. Keep your comments coming in, hashtag CTV Morning Brief, or on WhatsApp. We hope we've been able to inspire you, particularly by Chidinma's story. But we'll take a moment now. When we return, we're talking security. That relocation to Sokoto, what does that mean? And then we'll get into the NNPC Limited matter. It's a big package today. Stay with us.